set it off? Yeah. It's a story. Now, it's apparent that Eric and Erica should have never got married. Because Erica cheated on Eric with Harry, who was married to Mary. But Harry and Erica wasn't in love. They just cheated with each other because everyone and their mother does. Now witness and behold this young but fully developed 17-year-old girl who goes by the name of Pearl. And Pearl was walking down a dirt road in some remote town that nobody really knows. And then you've got Earl, who's heard about Pearl. But Earl's a 30-year-old perv who always has the urge for young girls. So early one day, Earl decides to go and try to find some young girl. And in the middle of his search, what do you know? Little old Pearl's walking down the middle of the road. Hello, little girl. My name's Earl. Your name's Pearl, isn't it? How'd you know my name? Coincidence. Now, I'm just kidding, little miss. I know a friend who knows a friend who told me about you. And I know how to love you if you allow me to. Now, please allow me to introduce myself more formally. Now, I don't normally do this, but you're so truthfully beautiful. So I decided to take the chance, and perhaps if the feelings are mutual, I can give you a ride to wherever you're going. So at 8:30 early that Thursday morning, 17-year-old Pearl and 30-year-old Earl drove off and went in their merry way on what seemed like just another wet, cold, and dreary day. Yeah.
That was good. All right.
It's perfect.
Let me go back in this tale a bit and tell a little bit more about Minister Eric's predicament. Yeah, we forgot to mention that Eric and his cheating wife Erica has a church up in Maryland where he is pastor of it. Now, isn't it scary how Eric and Erica weren't very intimate in marriage to the point that Eric didn't know that Erica was creeping over to Harry's house when Mary was out cheating with everyone else's spouse? Now, it's been about 16 years and 11 months since Eric and his wife Erica's wedding was. But something wasn't usual. Erica's stomach was protruding through a beautiful dress. Yet no one said a thing and had the nerve to address it. See, they had a secret. When Eric was still a deacon, he and Erica weren't exactly keeping their legs closed and then chose to produce a seed that grew to be a beautiful baby girl. You may remember her, Pearl. Now, it's very apparent that Erica, as a parent, isn't very aware that the daughter isn't a little girl any longer, because it's obvious Pearl is well endowed, and now her well endowment's hanging out of her blouse. But what can mother say? Well, mother does the same thing her daughter does on a regular basis. Save it, mother. Her daughter Pearl said, face it. What can you say? I look just like you with a facelift.
Metaphor extraordinaire. All right, let me come with it. Now, no 17-year-old girl wakes up in the morning and anticipates being raped in a 1994 four-door Ford Explorer. Just moments before all this, she was innocently on her way to the local store to break a $10 bill and some ones for a roll of quarters. Well, sort of. Okay, true. Maybe today she skipped school and didn't stay home because her mom was there, a housewife who didn't have a clue that her daughter was mad at her and her father because they constantly argued. Pearl's speculations went from potentially to eventually they would inevitably separate, and she couldn't deal with it. So she started popping pills to conceal how she was feeling inside. Getting high became a way to numb the pain, her way to cope, a place to go where she felt safe to run away. But you know what they say, you can run but you can't hide. You can only suppress what lies inside of you for so long. Sooner or later you're gonna have to stop pushing the snooze button on the alarm and wake up, only to face up to the fact that you hate what you see in the mirror with smeared mascara running down your face from the tears wept and shed on what used to be your nightly basis to now an erratically crying teen who was having dreams of throwing her whole life down the drain by freebasing herself a new reality. Only Pearl didn't imagine, let's think, that in a blink of an eye, she would catch the eye of some guy who, to her surprise, actually thought she was beautiful, as if the start were unusual. And the rest would unfold like a redneck twist on a scene you would see in an old-school classic romance musical. Only this version of The Sound of Music don't have your typical happy ending. Nah, this romance went much further than what Pearl had anticipated or wanted. Because as soon as the romance started, Earl's plans to disarm this perfectly harmless girl of her untarnished armor was acknowledged. Every stitch of garment was ripped off her virginal body. Helplessly, wrestling, desperately, yelling, please, no, don't, stop it. Shut up, don't fight back or say nothing. My wrongs are already pardoned by the same God your father serves. But where is God now, darling? Don't think that you recognize my face now, because I don't go to your daddy's little church to pay homage. And as soon as Earl was finished, Pearl was kicked to the curb and discarded like a piece of garbage. Slumped over in a puddle of tears and sorrow. How could she predict that someday one stranger would take her virginity in exchange for a fertile seed that is currently growing internally, gradually surfacing outwardly, revealing the evidence of a pregnant teen that's plain to see, because now it's starting to show externally. Yeah.
So Pearl finally works up the nerve to journal her thoughts down in a purple notebook. And it's a page turner because it's unheard of for a girl of her age to go through a journey so hurtful. Thoughts of pain circles through her mind as she works through the details of Earl's stroke, which she had honestly hoped to receive in due time, but cries as she realizes that she's just another rape victim. How sickening. Heavy tears in the eyes drip down to the page and smear out the place where she wrote down the time and date of the rape. What a shame. She writes down in all caps, how could this happen to me? I'm 17. She's heard this happens to girls half of her age that are randomly chased and candidly take candy from strangers and are handily taken in the back of raggedy station wagons, raped and end up mangled in black plastic bags at the bottom of lakes. What a horrid mistake she made caving into his weak game as he claimed she was the best thing he'd seen since Lisa Gibbons. And please forgive him for staring at a sleek frame. See, right there is where she should rethink the character of a man who would peek into the crease in between the cleavage and reach into his jeans and relayers. What was she thinking? Such an innocent, sweet, pretentious teen who seemed smart but went naive in 3 seconds. All because he mentioned she sent his blood pressure up and she should feel special because he meant it. Okay, let's recenter. Now she's pregnant and descends back into her dependency on antidepressants. And as she enters the free center to see if they can reach in and disconnect her fetus from its placenta, thoughts enter her mind, visions of her unborn child.
But wait, that's not all. Guess who walked in the room?
It's Harry the specialist, wearing his spectacles, carrying love messages. There in his pocket protector is Eric's address, and Erica's wedding ring is there on his chest.
Now, we regret to break this unfortunate news, but if you want to hear the rest and see how the story concludes, then you have to stay tuned. But for now, the story ends. Till we meet again, to be continued. Peace.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Breathe, dog.
My bad. That exhale.
Wasn't that awesome?
Man.
Harry and Erica.
Woo.
Susan and man.
Crazy.
Man, that Sean and Eishii piece was amazing.
What's going on?
What up, y'all?
Before we get started, we got to make sure everybody understands what we're doing, so we know everybody is. Does everybody think they know who everybody is? Raise your hand. I need to see. Okay. All right. Does anybody know who Eric is? Give me.
Show of hands.
I'm coming to you. All right. Who wants to do it? All right. You closest.
Erica is the pastor that's married to Erica.
Yes. Okay. So, who knows anything about Erica?
All right.
Erica is cheating on her husband currently with Harry.
Currently. All right. What's their daughter's name? Okay. And is everybody know what happened to Pearl? Okay. We don't want to talk about that again.
It looks like we did a pretty good job. Everybody kept up.
Okay.
Y'all did a good job, too.
And what's the last? We got a couple more characters. What happened with Pearl? Who did that to Pearl? Okay. And who are the other two characters? And Mary. Okay. We good.
Well, for those of y'all that didn't get it, I'm going to set it off like this. Now, I guess you can consider me the temporary narrator. So before we get this ball rolling, first I'll take a moment to recap and rehash as I bring you back and up to speed by reintroducing all of the story's characters. Now, this story all takes place in the great state of Maryland, where a man named Eric is married to his wife, Erica. And Eric is a pastor who doesn't have a clue. Apparently, his wife, Erica, is having an affair with another dude who happens to go by the name of Harry. But Harry is having an affair, too, because Harry is married to his wife, Mary. Now, isn't this love triangle starting to sound like something you would hear on Jerry? Now, despite the fact that Eric and Erica's marriage is falling in shambles, they still kept the family pictures hanging over the mantle. But the innocent image of a God-fearing family was just a front to cover up a not-so-innocent love scandal. See, they had a secret. When Eric was still a deacon, he and Erica very discreetly were sleeping together. But Erica became aware that Herb and Eric were 8 months away from becoming parents. But Eric was too embarrassed to have a baby outside of marriage, so he chose to propose, presenting Erica with diamonds and carrots. And 8 months later, they had a beautiful baby girl and decided to name her Pearl. Now, fast forward 16 years and 11 months later, Pearl is all grown up now, but the constant friction of a dysfunctional house has caused her to grow distantly disconnected from a mother and father who constantly argue and are on the verge of divorcing. Now, let's veer off for one moment, and I'll introduce you to a man named Earl. Now, Earl is a 30-year-old sexually perverted, twisted version of that dude Ernest Goes to Jail, combined with the dark, eerie side similar to the persona of that dude Carl in the movie Sling Blade. And has a thing for teenage girls. Now, was it just a coincidence that innocent little Pearl happened to be happily walking down the same dirt road that Earl drove his 1994 four-door Ford Explorer every morning on his way to work? Well, coincidence or not, he persuaded Pearl to hop in and the two of them drove off. Only Pearl didn't envision that only minutes later she'd be getting raped in a vacant parking lot. She desperately fought and begged him to stop, but he just would not. This man was relentless. There was no preventing this man from getting what he wants. He firmly covered her mouth and held down her arms and just kept going on and on. Then in an instant, he stopped, got back in the driver's seat, started the car, and dropped her off at the nearest bus stop. 6 weeks later, Pearl noticed the symptoms of morning sickness were plainly evident. Not only was she a rape victim, but she became pregnant from it. Now she nervously enters the entrance of the abortion clinic. She never envisioned that she'd ever be in this position. The nurse at the front desk directs her to room 2. As she patiently waits, she contemplates pacing back and forth because she's unsure if this is something she really wants to do. The door finally opens and the doctor walks through. But here's the twist. Guess who walked in the room? It's Harry the specialist, wearing his spectacles, carrying love messages. There in his pocket protector was Eric's address, and Erica's wedding ring was there on his chest. And this is where we left off at the end of part 1. So with no further ado, we present to you the second chapter. This is Twisted, part 2.
Okay, it seems we have a problem. Dr. Harry obviously recognizes that this is Erica's daughter. Oh no, he's not breathing. Quick, prep the ER. Bring out the respirator. We need to resuscitate him. Wait, stay calm, Harry. You've been through this before. Mary's caught you on the floor of the bedroom making love to the next door neighbor's maid who was only in 8th grade, but it wasn't your fault because she looked 24. Just ask her what her name is like you didn't already know. But wait, what if she recognizes my cologne from the time me and Erica were having sex in the home and then chose to move to Pearl's bed because she said she wanted to reconnect with her youth? True, but wait a minute, who are we really scared of? Is it that fool Eric who preaches Jesus from the pulpit but can't even save his own marriage? Dude, you should be embarrassed. Pull yourself together. Cool. Okay, young lady, can you please tell me your name and what you came here to do? At this point, Pearl had already taken advantage of Harry's hesitation and managed to make up her mind about taking the life of her unborn baby. Okay, young lady, let me take you through the usual rhetoric. It would be better if you put your baby up for adoption instead of opting to terminate your offspring, because often adopted babies grow up to be presidents or doctors and yada, yada, yada. Now, that's option number 1. Option 2 is only possible if it's proven that you should get assistance due to your financial position, because there are a few institutions that provide distribution of money that you do not earn, so you could go through with your pregnancy and bring your baby to term. But I'm sure you've heard this all before, so let's just move you on your way. But doctor, I'm still under 18. Don't I need some sort of parental notification? What? Don't be crazy. Let's not get them involved. You're a grown lady. That doesn't make any sense at all. Let's just waive the notification papers and Nurse Amy will take you to the room for proper preparation, okay? Okay. A few minutes later, Harry enters the room to find Pearl already prepped with the legs spread up in the stirrups. Something about the situation is stimulating memories of scenes that Harry has seen far too often, just a younger version. He grabs the local anesthesia needle and proceeds with the procedure while streams of tears are creeping down Pearl's face. He inserts the vacuum tube and begins extracting. Okay, young lady, you might start feeling some cramping, but that's really normal, no need for alarm. 5 more seconds and the procedure is done.
5.
Pearl tenses her face and digs her nails into Nurse Amy's arm.
4.
Amy screaming at Pearl and telling her that she needs to stay calm.
3.
Harry's hands are shaking because he remembers performing the same procedure on Erica
2.
from the baby they made together, but Erica said she didn't want to give her marriage up.
1.
It's done. Meanwhile, back at home, Erica's going through Pearl's things as she's often done before. This time she comes across a purple notebook that Pearl uses as a journal and opens it up to the last date, to the entry entitled, The Rape.
"911. Sheriff's Department, how can I be of assistance? Oh my God, please, officer, listen. My daughter's been raped. Please, you've got to commission a statewide search and find the man that raped my girl. Man, please, try to remain calm. Now, I know this must be hard and quite alarming as a mom, finding this out about your daughter. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry. Thank you, officer. No thanks necessary, man. I'm just doing my job. Now, slow down and tell me exactly what happened. Okay, well, see, here's the thing. I was in Pearl's bedroom. Oh, Pearl, that's my daughter. When I was gathering up some clothes about to run a load of laundry, when I stumbled across a journal, she keeps a diary in a purple notebook, and the mother instincts in me rose up, so I took a quick look. I only expected to read things about our high school dreams, you know, things like that. But what I read was so gruesomely horrendous, I didn't know how to react. It's okay, man. Take a deep breath. Now tell me, what did you read? She wrote out in detail, revealing that some man named Earl picked her up on the side of the road, pulled over it, started raping her. Okay, man, it's all right. Now, I know that this hurts, but did the journal happen to say where she was raped? It said it took place in some vacant parking lot. Oh, dear God, why have you allowed this to happen to her? Look, man, I'm not against religion, but you can take this up with God once we're finished. But for now, we need to complete this police report before the police can get down to business. Now, I need to take down some basic information. Tell me, what is your daughter's full name, her age, and did she happen to write down the date of when she was raped? Okay, her first name is Pearl, middle initial E, last name Hart, and she just turned 17. And I believe this happened about 3 weeks ago. Man, please, try not to get all hysterical. Now, is your daughter there now? Can I talk to her? No, she says she went out with some friends. Oh, my God, what if he's stalking her? Look, man, as long as your daughter's in a public place, there's not a chance in the world that this man would even think to show his face. Well, okay, you're the expert. So what steps are next? How does this all work? Okay, I'm sending an officer to look for your daughter, but first, I need to take down a couple more pieces of information. Tell me, do you know anything else that may help us with this investigation? If so, I may need you to come down to the station. Of course, officer. I can come down right away. Oh, but can you hold on? My husband's on the other line, but don't hang up, okay? Hello? Hello, Eric? Yes, honey, what's wrong? Oh, my God, Eric, are you driving? Pull over the car. Erica, please tell me, what is it? Eric. Pearl's been raped. Oh, my God, are you kidding? Look, I'm 15 minutes away from the house. Eric, please don't hang up. I need you now. Look, one of us needs to call the police. I know, I already did. There's an officer on the other line. He wants me to come down to the station. Let me get his information and we can go together tonight. All right? But Eric, please don't hang up. Okay, fine. Hello, officer. Sorry for keeping you on hold. No problem, man. I understand. Now, where were we? Oh, I'm sorry, but can I get your information and call you back tonight? Of course, ma'am, and once again, that'll be quite all right. And just for the record, my heart goes out to you and your family. I know that this hurts. It sickens me to think how many twisted people there are in this world. Well, thank God for people like you who protect and serve. Well, I'm just sorry I wasn't able to save your daughter, Pearl. Well, nonetheless, thank you, officer. You truly have helped me calm my nerves. Now, what was your name? Oh, yes. Forgive me, man. My name is Earl. Erica's face turns pale and she immediately drops the phone, then picked it back up, but all she heard was a dial tone. Practically having a panic attack, gasping to breathe. With a shaky finger, she presses the flash button back to her husband, but was unable to speak. Erica, what's wrong? Tell me, is Pearl all right? Hold on, I'm almost home. The house is in sight. Eric, the man that raped Pearl, his name was Earl. Okay, all right. Eric, the officer I've been talking to on the other line, his name is Earl. I've been talking to the man that raped Pearl this whole time. Okay, just pulled up. I'm coming inside.
Eric enters the room and tells Erica to sit down on the couch. Got some explaining to do. Just listen. This will all make sense in a second. Erica's face looks confused, but Eric continues. Back before we were married, I committed an indiscretion besides getting you pregnant. It was a deep-seated issue. 3 years to be specific. Okay, here's the real admission. I've done enough stalling. I've been holding this all in now for about 20 years. Okay, here it is. Back when I was still a deacon and we were just friends, my sexual orientation was mentally bent. But it's not what you think, it's actually worse. My mind was perverse, I was a pervert. See, there was a young boy in the church that I used to coerce into taking off his shirt by offering sherbet. But what worked the best was getting undressed, playing naked sock puppets. We were Ernie and Bert. Not too dirty at first, but it eventually progressed to a 3-year-long molestation, except it ended up being more of a relationship. He was hurt when we gave birth to Pearl and in turn told him it would have to end. Now Earl's a grown man and he's out for revenge. Erica's mouth flew open and her jaw dropped down to the ground. How could this have all happened without her finding out? They spent the next few hours trying to talk about how in the world they were going to work this out.
So this is how the story concludes. Pearl walks through the front door of the house and sees her mom and dad sitting on the living room couch. Eric is all teary-eyed, and Eric explains why, pointing to the journal laying on the table next to the TV guide. Okay, Pearl tells them everything from the rape to the abortion. Her parents show compassion, yet Eric felt a sense of disappointment, but didn't voice it. Erica starts yawning, and Eric and Pearl saw it. And you know how contagious yawns are. Now everyone's yawning. Okay, Eric follows by saying, look, we've got a lot on our plate. It's getting extremely late. We've got church in the morning. Now, I know that just the thought of going to church during a time like this seems totally out of the question, but I think that if we choose to go, we may find some clarity. I think that tomorrow's service will serve as a form of therapy. So at 10 o'clock the next morning, the Hart family decide to go when they seat themselves in the front pew. And for the first time in what seemed like years, Eric turned to Erica and said, I love you. Erica responds with a blush and grips her husband's hand and tells him that she loves him too. But then somebody else catches her eye. Harry and his wife Mary are sitting right behind him on the opposite side. Hold on, don't overreact. Harry's a member of the church too. There's no harm in that. Just because you met him here and had an affair in the office chair of the assistant pastor's office doesn't mean that Eric suspects a thing. It's just your guilt talking. Praise and worship finishes, and Eric makes his way to the pulpit. Then glances over the congregation and sees a man in a police uniform walk in. Eric tries to push aside thoughts of Earl out his mind. Okay, concentrate, Eric. Focus. It's showtime.
Good morning, congregation. Today's message is basic, but I'm going to be saying some names, just don't be ashamed. My daughter Pearl's been raped. Wait. I know this is strange, but bear with me. Soon you'll understand what I'm saying. She then had an abortion that was performed by Harry, who was also having an affair with my wife, Erica. Yes, honey, I was always aware of it. Now, Harry's wife, Mary, is also having affairs with Barry, Matt, Gary, Chris, Dustin, and Greg. Doug strung out on drugs. Ben, just cocaine. Jenny's been a perpetual liar, if that's even her real name. Jimmy's addicted to naked pictures of women. Paul's fixation is masturbation, and in the past, him and Sebastian have had relations. Johnny's just fake. He claims to be saved, but to this day, he still hasn't made a commitment. While Kim has committed vehicular murder, drove off, and still hasn't turned herself in. While Officer Earl, standing in the back of the church, is the man that manhandled my baby girl. What's worst of all is that your Pastor Hart is the one that basically raped him first, which means I was basically raping her. So I don't even have to mention that your sin has consequences. That's not for this message. See, the problem that we're having is that deep down within us, we really don't feel like we can be forgiven. Even though Jesus died on the cross to pay for our sins, We think our lives are too twisted for him to forgive. So we hide our faces. We're perpetrating like our lives are straight when it's plain as day that we're not okay. So there's only one question left for us today.
Have we done too much? Have we gone too far? Is that secret we're keeping inside too large? When God paid the cost when he died on the cross, how is it there's forgiveness for a life so twisted?
Have you done too much? Have you gone too far? Is that secret you're keeping inside too large when God paid the cost when he died on the cross? How is it there's forgiveness for a life so twisted?
How is it there's forgiveness for a life so twisted?
How is it there's forgiveness for a life so twisted?